Hello. In response to my last video, someone commented, I agree with almost everything here and understand the sentiment behind what I don't, but I will describe my greatest fear here. We have kicked them out over and over and over again, and they always come back to parasite, murder, rape, etc. Us, always, without exception. To do as you suggest would be to condemn future generations to the same fate. Do I want to get rid of them? No. The idea sickens me, to be honest. But we will be the ones to die out if we don't. YouTube wouldn't let me give my response, so I wrote it. I'm going to read from it. It said, I hear you loud and clear. I end up asking myself if I'm responsible for the end game. God has and does use violence, and we each have a path. I cannot say what each path offers another. I can say that in my experience, violence comes at the expense of the innocent. What good is it to save children from one monster if they are raised by another? Righteous violence is still violence, and all violence needs to be checked and measured. I did not say abandoned. I am a pacifist as long as it's an option, but as a Christian, I value and uphold life, mine and others, with the priority being on the innocent. For me, I believe that I am to protect what God gave me, my mind, my body, and my spirit. God gave those to me. I need to be grateful. To protect children is my obligation. I don't know that that needs explaining. If I follow those two rules, what rules come after? The rules of warfare, the rules of civil contract, societal agreement, morality? I'm not going to expound further on that because I want to leave it open. God can do anything. He doesn't need my help. He expects my fealty, my loyalty. He wants faith. Faith is another word I need to get into. He asks me to share his gospel, and I very well can't do that to the dead or if I am dead myself. He already said it's his job to end all the sin. I trust him. He also said that he will judge us by the weight of our hearts. Brother, my heart is heavy and I yearn to make it light. I would ask you where you're at with this. Will violence come? I believe so. Will it come soon? I believe so. Is it necessary? I would suggest that's irrelevant if it's inevitable. Do I want violence? No, I'm not sick. Will I use it? Ask me at that moment, because I trust in Christ to guide my hand in all things. And that's how I aim to be, is trusting in Christ. I can only humbly offer that I hope to be so steadfast every minute the rest of my life. But I don't know what will happen tomorrow. On the subject of genocide, what if Mr. Langan is correct? And the two bloodlines share a connection or bond. Then the genetic weapons that the Ashkenazi would use on the whites would inevitably destroy themselves. Sounds awfully Jewish to me. I knew that this would be a hot take. I offer that to secure a future for one generation is all that I can do. For the following generation will depend on them. to wield all future generations is the prideful concept of legacy. It's vanity. It's a sin. I'm taking away an unknown to me generation's ability to problem solve, use their will, figure it out on their own. Everybody in the past had to deal with Jews. Maybe it's God's plan that everybody in the future has to deal with Jews. I have to deal with me and my situation right now, and I am not the leader of an international military that rounds up and executes people. Will said organization exist? I have no fucking idea. I'm talking about, I'll get to it here. When I said that I'm trying to weigh out my own heart in preparation. Violence is such a fucking weird thing because some people understand it, some people think they understand it, some people have never really known it, some people have known way fucking too much of it. It's a dick measuring contest, and it's a word that people just don't seem to fully meet eye to eye on. In other words, it's a word that needs defining. But unfortunately, everybody seems to be carrying their own definition. It also seems to me that a lot of people are looking left and right, trying to justify the violence in their own heart, and are also trying to find motivation and function in said violence. So how do I answer that? Let me say that there is violence, number one. Number two, God created it. God's responsible for making this world, and it's part of His design. Okay, now pride comes from thinking that I can grab hold of God's design and do it for my own benefit, the way I see fit, what I think is best in my very small point of view. The dilemma I see in life isn't necessarily how to win Christ's battles for Him, but to simply do my best to make myself worthy to be amongst His ranks. Because if I am among His ranks and I am counted, then whatever He asks me to do, there will be no debate. There will be no argument. There will be no pondering. When I have arrived at that moment, in that instance, in that thought, just then, outside of all time, then I am whatever God made me. God made me as I am. He knew that there was violence in my heart, and He knew that I would struggle with that violence, and He knew that I would walk from here to there in this lifetime, and He knew that I would encounter these things. And He knew that my hand would know the weight of a sword, and He knew that I would cross monsters in my travels. So if you're asking what is right for me is right for you, good luck. Good luck. All I want to say anymore on the subject is something I've been saying. You are what you're about. And if you are about killing your enemy, then I guess you're awaiting Valhalla. I'm about protecting the weakest among us. Will I raise a sword to do that? Yes. Do I want to raise that sword? No. Do I know how long I will have to carry that sword and what I'll have to use it for? No, I don't. I can only say that I'm doing my best to be ready without spreading fear, warmongering, hate, and a deviation of the teachings, the the purpose that I fight for. If I get out of bed to slaughter my enemy, then I might as well just hang myself. This is me talking. But if I get out of bed to hand what little God has given me and privy to, preserve it, be salty, and give it to the next generation, then I bound out of bed. Would I fight and kill and die for that? I believe I would. The rest of it is superficial, and we can get into it as we get into it. I hope that clarifies. And I hope we're still on for coffee. I love you guys. God bless.